Hello, you beautiful people. So, the official livestream for patch 4.0 of Honkai Star Rail finally got announced after being delayed for about 3 weeks, which honestly felt like an eternity because there is literally nothing to do in HSR right now, and I'm guessing that you clicked on this video because you're curious about all the stuff that we'll see in this special program, right? Lucky for you though, you've managed to click on the perfect video to get all that juicy info. Today, I'm mainly going to talk about everything that we can expect to see in the version 4.0 livestream of HSR, like the exclusive livestream codes, limited or rerun banners, a free limited 5-star character selector, new skins for the Trailblazer along with another character, new Nova flares, login rewards, and some other stuff as well. Honestly, I won't lie, this live stream is probably going to be one of the most stacked live streams we've had in a while, because it is a special program for the release of an entirely new planet along with an entirely new cast of characters. And they likely have a lot of stuff prepared to market them like a character teaser, just like how they released one for the Amphireus cast. Before we begin, just like I promised in my last video, I'll be hosting a small 2 Express Pass giveaway in this video as well. If you're interested in this giveaway and want to enter it, you just need to scroll down a little bit in order to drop any kind of comment in the comment section, and well, just doing that will make you fully eligible for it. Also, I want to mention that I'll be hosting a giveaway in almost every single video for a while, so you might want to keep an eye out for every new video. By the way, the patch 4.0 banners featuring Sparxie and Yaoguang along with the reruns are going to be here very soon, and if you're planning on spending on these or any of the future banners, let me recommend Loot Bar to you. Personally, I have been using Loot Bar for over a year, as I use it to gift all the giveaways that I host on my channel along with the top-ups that I do on my account. They are completely safe and uses currency exchange to get you discounts on the stellar jades or shards that you are going to buy anyway. On top of this, they've got tens of thousands of 5-star reviews, and by using or clicking on my link, you can save over 25% on all of your purchases. Yep, the process to use Loot Bar is super simple. Just click the pack you want, enter your in-game UID along with the region, and your top-up is delivered within minutes. Also, new users get a 10% off coupon, and returning users can still grab a 5% or 3% off just by clicking my link, so do keep that in mind. Lastly, let me just mention the usual disclaimer that everything which I mention in this video is taken from different sources, and it can be changed at any point of time, so take all this info with a grain of salt. With that being said, let's begin without wasting any more of your time or energy. Alright, starting off, let's talk about when this special program is going to go live along with its release time in different time zones, and because of legal reasons, I have no idea where you live. So I'll just mention most of the major time zones, and hopefully one of them is yours. Okay, going off the official roadmap that was published around 6 days ago by Hoyo themselves, HSR's version 4.0 livestream will be aired on February 6th, with the patch itself releasing on February 13th, and as I promised. Here are the timings of the livestream for a lot of different time zones, and make sure that you don't miss out on it. Also, as usual, there will be a total of 3 redeem codes that will be released throughout the duration of this live stream at different times, and each one of these redeem codes will reward you a total of 100 stellar jades for, well, redeeming them. Keep in mind, though, that these codes usually expire within 24 hours after they're released, so if you're someone who is usually either asleep or busy during the live stream, as the timing can get a bit weird for some specific time zones, you still don't need to worry about missing these codes at all, because as soon as the live stream ends, I'll have all the redeem codes posted on my channel along with a direct link to redeem them, so you can easily just get your rewards from there. Okay, next up, let's take a quick look at the new characters that are going to be released in the next patch, while also discussing the banner order for version 4.0 and the rerunning units as well. Just a spoiler though, but I have a huge suspicion that the banner order for this patch is going to be very weird and somewhat confusing, but that's a topic for the later parts of this video, so stay tuned for now. Anyways, coming back to the new characters, due to the drip marketings that were released around 4 weeks ago, we already know that the 2 new characters that will be featured in this patch are Sparxie and yaoguang, and both of them will be released on the limited banners in version 4.0. Alright, first of all, let's talk about Sparxie a little bit, because I'm gonna assume that the majority of you guys are more interested in her as compared to yaoguang. So, she is a fire-type unit following the path of elation, and if you've been living under a rock up until now and have no idea what elation is, it's basically a new path that is going to be released in version 4.0, and I would say that personally. The way this elation path works looks really fun and, literally appears in your action bar to help you in the fight. Honestly, joining the battle along with the elation characters sounds like something that would actually do just to mess around and have fun. Okay, before I get distracted and start yapping about Elation or how it works, let's just head back and talk more about Sparxie and what she does. So, she is a character that is going to fulfill the role of a main DPS on your account, while also having a trace that buffs your entire team. Right now, I would personally say that her kit is in a very decent state even after they nerfed her, and I like that she's not insanely broken where she just power creeps any other team in the game. Do keep in mind though that she has another trace, and it's one of those classic traces that HSR uses to restrict your team building freedom around a character. Basically, when Sparxie has 3 Elation characters in her team counting herself as one, she gets extra stacks of punchlines and thrills upon using her ultimate. Now, for those who don't know what these punchline and thrill stacks mean, they're basically mechanics related to the Elation path and Sparxie's kit, and all you need to know is that the more stacks you have of both of them, the better it is. Yep, that's quite literally all you need to know, and as you can see, the amount of stacks that you get when you have 3 Elation units in the team is quite a lot, so they definitely want you to pull for other Elation characters as well. I personally despise this concept of limiting the team building freedom by making traces like these, but we saw them do this with Everknight's traces already, so I guess at this point it is to be expected. Overall, if you love Sparxie's design and if you plan on pulling for other Elation characters in the future, especially yaoguang, then you should definitely try pulling for Sparxie as well. Also, I would like to mention here that based on what a reliable source recently stated, Sparxie isn't properly going to fulfill the role of a main DPS, and in the future when other Elation main DPSs are released, Sparxie will still fit on their teams, but more as a sub-DPS rather than a main one. Personally, I would say that Sparxie being a sub-DPS makes way more sense because she has a lot of team-wide buffs in her kit, just like Everknight, but at the time, if you're someone who wants to play her as the main DPS, well, you don't need to worry at all because Sparxie has high enough multipliers where she can easily clear literally any kind of content, especially if you build a team around her with other Elation characters. Honestly, up until a week ago, I was also planning to pull for Sparxie, but then they revealed the designs of the other upcoming characters, and now I'm in full saving mode until Evanesha, Silverwolf, Nihilix, and Blade's banner. Moving on to yaoguang, she is going to be a physical type unit, and just like Sparxie, she also follows the path of Elation. Unlike Sparxie though, yaoguang is meant to fulfill the role of a support on your team instead of being a damage dealer, and it's kind of lore accurate as well because in the Siendo Alliance, her title is called the Seer Strategist, which makes it obvious that she's not really supposed to be someone who frontlines for your team and deals a ton of damage. Now, talking about her kit, I would personally say that the most broken thing about her is her ultimate by far, and she genuinely has an insane ultimate for basically any Elation-related team. So, upon using her ultimate, she provides the usual buffs that a support ultimate provides, like giving 5 punchline stacks to your entire team, while also providing a 20% all-type resistance penetration. At this point, you're probably thinking that this is a pretty mid-ultimate, and it doesn't even provide that many buffs, right? Well, you're thinking that because I haven't told you the last part of her ultimate yet, which lets her give Aha an entire extra turn. Yep, I know a lot of you might not know what Aha does and how he gets a turn, so let me just explain it in a very simple way. Alright, so, whenever you have Elation characters on your team, Aha himself will appear on the action bar similar to how Lightning Lord appears on the action bar when you have Jing Yuan. Now, when Aha takes a turn, he doesn't really do anything himself other than laughing in your face, but he also makes it so that during his turn, every Elation character on your team uses their respective Elation skill. By the way, an Elation skill is a totally new type of ability that is obviously exclusive to Elation characters, and you can only trigger an Elation skill during Aha's turn. Also, try to not underestimate these Elation skills because they're quite broken, and by this point, I think you can understand why yaoguang's ultimate is broken, right? She simply allows Aha to take an entire extra turn, and imagine if you have a team of 4 Elation characters later in the future, that's literally 4 extra skills per yaoguang's ultimate. Overall, if you're someone who plans to pull for other Elation characters like Sparxie, Blade's new form, or Evanesha, you should definitely try getting yaoguang as she is a support, and you should never skip supports, especially in HSR. Well, with that, we're done talking about the new characters that are going to be released in version 4.0 of HSR. Actually, wait, I forgot to mention that along with yaoguang and Sparxie, we're going to see another new character that is going to be released in this patch, and this character is called Rappa. From all the info that we have on her right now, this character will be a female who uses the maid type model similar to Firefly or Everknight, and she is likely going to be an imaginary type unit who follows the path of erudition. Okay, I won't lie, Maybe I stretched that one a bit too much, but jokes aside, Rappa is finally going to get her first ever rerun in version 4.0 after 479 days since her initial banner went live, and yes, I counted the days. Aside from Rappa though, there are going to be 5 more characters who are going to get a rerun in this patch, and these characters are Hyacinth, Black Swan, and Sarydra, who are going to be featured in this first half of the patch, while both Evernight and Sparkle will be featured along with Rappa in the second half. Honestly saying, the reruns for this patch are actually pretty decent, and in my opinion, if you're someone who is looking to pull for Sparxie, you should also try to get Sparkle from her rerun banner as well. Wait, actually, you don't even really need to pull for Sparkle if you don't already have her, because in patch 4.0, we're going to get a free 5 selector, and this is going to be our major reward for this patch. Do you remember that way back in version 2.7, we got a standard 5-star selector where we could choose any 5-star that we wanted from it? Well, you can basically consider this selector similar to that one, but this time, we'll be able to select limited characters instead of the standard ones. For now, a source has stated that there will be a total of 7 characters who will be available for us to choose from, and these units are Acheron, Aventurin, Kafka, Jingyuan, Jinglu, Dan Hangil, and at last, Sparkle. Not going to lie, this is actually a pretty good reward, and I'm genuinely so happy because from this selector, I'm finally going to get a free Kafka on my account, and in the future, I'm definitely building a pure DOT team as well. I'm curious though, who are you guys personally choosing from this selector? And if you're confused about who you should choose, you can just drop your question in the comment section and I'll try my best to reply. Moving on, do you remember how I talked about the banner order for this patch being somewhat weird earlier in the video? Well, I suppose it's finally time to talk more on that topic and discuss how the banner order might change in the next patch. So, some of the sources have speculated that rather than putting a new character in the first half and the other new character in the second half of a single patch, in version 4.0, HSR is going to make it so that the character who is released in the first phase stays on the banner until the end of the patch. To simplify this, the sources meant that in the first half of version 4.0, Yaoguang will be featured on the limited banners, and we can already confirm that she's going to be released in the first half through the official roadmap for Plan Arcadia. Now, when the second half this patch begins, Sparxie, who is the other limited unit releasing in version 4.0, will finally get her featured banner, and if we were following the normal schedule, this is where Yaoguang's banner would end. In version 4.0 though, instead of following the normal schedule, Yaoguang's limited banner won't be ending in the second phase, and it'll last the entire patch for a total of 42 days. Honestly, I actually like this kind of a banner schedule, and it does make quite a lot of sense as well. Basically, you know how I just told you about what Yaoguang does, and we all can easily tell that she is mainly designed to work with other relation characters, right? Well, keeping that in mind, they're likely releasing her in the first half so that all the people who pull for Yaoguang slowly realize that 90% of her kit is solely made for relation characters, and they all start saving for Sparxie or other relation units. Personally, this is the only reason I can come up with to justify them not releasing both Sparxie and Yaoguang together in the first half of the patch and have their banners last for 42 days, but I guess that kind of a banner system is too good to be true. Honestly though, this banner schedule works both ways when you think about it, because imagine you're someone who pulled Sparxie when she releases in the second phase, and then you hear everyone saying that Yaoguang is her best support by far. In this kind of a scenario, I would assume a lot of people might try to pull for Yaoguang just to make their Sparxie even better, and rather than waiting for a rerun, they could just pull Yaoguang right now because her banner lasts for the whole patch. Overall, I personally really like this type of a banner system for new character releases because at the end of the day, it would just end up reducing the fear of missing out for a lot of players. Alright, seeing as we're done talking about the banner order, let's move on and take a look at something that we haven't seen since version 3.4. So, based on some recent info shared by a particularly reliable source, we're finally going to get some new character skins with the release of patch 4.0. Honestly, I think this is the first ever when I'm really excited for a skin because both of the characters who are receiving a skin in this patch are 2 of my favorite characters in the entirety of HSR. Yep, if you have me added on Discord, you probably already know that I'm like the biggest Rerun May fan ever, and she is one of the units that is going to get a new skin in version 4.0. So I'm personally really hyped, and I already have a lot of crystals saved up from buying the express passes as well. Other than Rerun May though, the Trailblazer is also going to get a new skin, and according to the same source who shared this info, this skin is going to be free and most likely obtainable by doing the new Trailblaze quest that will be available in version 4.0. I know that for a very long time, a lot of players have wanted the Trailblazer to get a new skin, and I'm also one of these players, so I guess our wishes are finally being fulfilled. Okay, moving on to the last topic of the video, let's take a look at the new relic sets and what they exactly do. So, as I just said, in version 4.0, we're going to get a total of 2 new relic sets, and both of these sets are mainly designed for Elation characters. The first set out of the 2, which is called Everglorious Magical Girl, is a set especially designed for Elation character who are supposed to play the role of a DPS on your team. Honestly, this set is pretty good overall, as at the baseline for equipping the 4-piece set, it provides a total of 16% extra crit damage and 10% defense ignore. Along with this, your Elation characters will continue stacking up the punchline stacks as the fight goes on, and when you've accumulated about 50 stacks in total, the wearer of this set gains an extra 10% defense ignore. Now, on the other hand, the second new relic set in this patch is called Diviner of Distant Reach, and this set is also made for Elation characters, but contrary to the first set, this one is mainly meant to be used by support. Yep, for equipping the 4-piece effect of this set, it provides you a total of 6% extra speed, 10% or 18% extra crit rate, depending on the amount of speed that the wearer has in it last. An extra 10% elation damage boost to your entire team whenever the wearer uses their elation skill. Overall, both of these sets are pretty decent, and you should ideally start farming them as soon as 4.0 releases, especially if you're pulling for either Sparxie or Yaoguang. Well, there you go. That's pretty much all the stuff that we can expect to see in the patch 4.0 special livestream of HSR. If you actually made it this far into the video, I just want to say thanks, and I genuinely love y'all. Also, I didn't mention it before as it gets annoying, but if you liked the video, then do consider subscribing. With that being said, I hope you got what you were looking for, and I will see you in another one.